Oh, we've got a good one today, folks. We've got another multi-mod day coming at us, and it's going to be looking to shoot a double dose of legendary cartoon characters right into our veins. Samurai Jack is here, however the Japanese prince is not alone. For the shape-shifting evil that is the demon Aku also enters the fray, everyone. Each very unique, each made by a familiar face, and each will let us play our way at the end of the day. Let's get to it. Both Jack and Aku will offer their very own configuration options, of course, that will help change up the game if we do so please. And heck, when was the last time I ever got to see these menus again, everyone? Jack's can be adjusted for stat levels, weapon damage, and even visuals that we'll be talking about here in a bit, whereas Aku is mostly about stats and their drains at the end of the day, but he does have a perk that can be switched on and off that's pretty darn important. Aku is the older mod, but still, both are fun regardless. But what are these stats in question looking like, starting with Jack here? Well, Jack sits at 155 hunger, 175 sanity, and 155 health respectively, which all hovers around average levels for sure. And as far as I can tell, there ain't really no funny business with any of them. So let's just move on to the good stuff, yes. Yes, and we begin with Jack's God-gifted magical katana. Jack spawns into the constant with it, and for him, it will deal the respectable 57.8 damage to most mobs, while anyone else attempting to swing it around will essentially just be wielding a cooler looking spear at the end of the day. But, what did you actually mean by most mobs, Beard? I meant that while most will be hit for that 57.8 damage, any nightmare creatures and or clockworks will actually feel the sting of 67.8 damage instead, so make note there. Also note that while the magical sword has no durability, that doesn't mean you won't be dumb and eventually lose it potentially. And if you do, really your only option for obtaining another will be to craft your own at a celestial altar with the material seen here. So, don't lose it. And while we're on the topic of combat and all that nonsense, let's be sure to highlight just how Jack not only deals more damage to the nightmare creatures himself, but also how they deal more damage to him too. 25% more damage to be exact, which ain't great if you struggle with sanity, of course. But again, while we're here, let's toss in a look at his ghost, yes. And Jack's focused in life and death, it seems. But here's something fun to add to it all. Jack's wounds over time. Now this here is how Jack will look most of the time. However, when the hits start coming, and they won't stop coming, Jack will begin to look a little worse for wear at the end of the day. And eventually, his scars are going to catch up to him, and they're really going to start to show. And I find this feature really interesting personally. It gives the character if you know what I mean. But if you are in need of attention, folks, then perhaps Jack's love for tea is gonna be your saving grace. Jack really likes soothing tea here. And while soothing tea would typically restore 0 hunger, 15 sanity, and 3 health each slurp, Jack will gain 20 hunger, 20 sanity, and 20 health instead. Plus, the sanity gain over time that Soothing Tea provides appears to last even longer for Jack too. So there you go. But 2 last combat notes here. At his base, Jack deals 15% more damage with anything in his hand beyond his katana. So enjoy that. However, you won't exactly be able to enjoy it everywhere, as Jack himself has a code of honor, folks. To protect the innocents. Jack will not and cannot hurt non-hostile mobs. Well, unless they're in his inventory, but that might just be an oversight. Still, if the creature isn't mean or targeting you in any way, Jack will refuse to target it, so be mindful. But enough fighting. Let us just relax with the cool hats. Jack can craft his own Casa straw hat here with small amounts of basic reeds and grass. And the hat will provide 120 points of summer insulation along with a 70% resistance to wetness, which really ain't too shabby. It might only last 1 day, but still, it's cheap to make up for that. But finally, Jack's voice. Listen up, samurai. We have a constant to burn. Oh, but Jack was only half of the showcase here today, folks. It's Aku's turn. Aku will sit at 135 hunger, 115 sanity, and the whopping 55 health, respectively. Totally not average in any way, shape, or form, of course. But hold up, Beard. How can we expect it to do bloody anything with but 55 health to deal with? No worries, friends, as Aku has got us covered. For you see, one of his main perks is that every time he lands a hit in combat, his maximum health increases by 0.5 points. So if you are safe and smart about it, you can literally just fight your way to being an all-powerful demon the moment you spawn into the game. No, seriously, I have no idea if there is indeed a limit here. So if you just keep slashing, stabbing, and smashing, you're gonna be a freaking god. And if we couple that mechanic with the fact that Aku takes 50% less damage from literally anything in the game, and we're gonna have something here. But there is actually a downside to consider here before we go thinking that Aku is going to be the tankiest of all tanks at the end of the day. And it's how Aku here cannot wear most head and body slot armors or clothing, folks. Some yes, most no. Thankfully, backpacks are not on that no list, but again, you might get some crazy amount of health to deal with eventually, but you've also got nothing beyond a 50% damage reduction. Good luck. To continue, however, Aku spawns into the constant with 8 nightmare fuel ready to roll, and will have access to a shadow manipulator craft immediately. So there you go. Every minute and a half or so, Aku will spawn an evil flower right beneath him, which could be absolutely abused for easy sanity stations and or just additional nightmare fuel if you happen to refine these petals, of course. Have fun. And finally, when above 30 hunger and at full health, Aku will literally walk through any boulder and tree in his path. Now, this costs 20 hunger each to do, so be mindful there. And it makes walking near these resources kind of annoying at times, so be careful there too. You can't just turn it off if you want to, though. Oh, but before we go, here is a look at Aku's ghost and its flaming eyebrows of death, as well as a listen in on his voice. Enjoy! And there you have it, everyone. The samurai prince Jack and the evil shape-shifting demon Aku, both brought to us today by Sumi. They are two great mods that play it simple yet quite effective. So thanks to you, Sumi, as always, and to anyone else who helped along the way. Be sure to land that final strike though, folks, or else you might get sent to a dystopian retro future. Thanks for watching, well wishes to all, and I'll see ya in the next one. Bye-bye.